Well, it's KCGI coming live from EXPCon Miami, Florida. I'm Holly Mabery. I'm your Senior Vice President of Brokerage Operations. It's new, it's now, it's next. It's buyers. How are we elevating? What does it look like? And with me today, I'm so excited for this. We've got the incomparable and unstoppable from the great state of Florida, Beth Silverman, buyer investor strategist, multi-year icon, but not to be outdone from the great state of Texas, because we all know everything is bigger in Texas. Mikki McDougal, multi-year icon, state past chair and current member of the National Agent Advisory Committee. Ladies, what's shaking? How you doing?
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so, okay, buyers, there've been a few changes, couple. Now, Mikki, what I love about your business is you are like 75% buyers and investors, but walk me through, like, a lot of folks were losing their minds this summer. How did you stay so calm and cool? What did that really look like for you?
I always look cool, calm, and collected. I have 75% business representing buyers because I teach everyday people how to build wealth by leveraging the housing market as the vehicle. So I've been doing this for so long, this level of work and value that I provide to my clients. There was no way that I was going to let a listing broker determine my worth. So I had to.
Wait, stop right there. Wait a minute. Like, for our listeners out there and everybody live, like, have you ever let somebody determine your value?
I think back in the day, as a buyer agent, we were taught years and years ago that whatever the co-broke was just what it is. And a few years ago, there was this little market disruptor called COVID, and it forced me to level up my consultations. And as I leveled up the consultation, I brought all of my buyer clients into a written commitment, and that is where I started getting my worth.
Okay, so we see this market disruption that's COVID, and we all know that every time there's a market disruption, like, if you can actually pivot and be the most agile, as Glenn says, the fastest, you gain market share. Mikki, you're doing things in Texas that are blowing my mind. So will you talk a little bit about what's going on in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm primarily a heavy listing agent. And quite frankly, when August 17th was fastly approaching, I thought, that's it, I'll never work with another buyer. But now I'm having so much fun representing the buyers, and I'm actually making more money and representing my clients more wholeheartedly and enjoying the hell out of it.
Okay, so you're telling me, like, from our speaker this morning, you got a little more soul driving down into how you're representing those buyers?
Absolutely.
I love this so much. Okay, so tell me, as a listing agent, what skills did you bring over from the listing side to actually help you, like, dive down into those buyers? What does that look like right now?
So as a listing agent, I've always used the seller's estimated net worksheet showing the seller how much he's going to make. And I'm still making that presentation because ultimately that's all a seller really is worried about, right? Like, how much are they going to put in their pocket? But now in representing the buyers, I'm also preparing a seller's estimated net sheet and presenting that with my offer. Asking.
I was going to say, why are you doing the other agent's work?
Because I don't want the other agent messing things up.
Wait, everybody write that down. Yeah, so you don't want the other agent messing things up, so you're going to assist them, you know, by giving them a little extra.
Right. It's just one extra form. I ask them to call me before they present the offer, and I explain to them it's the normal fees, you know, your escrow, your prorated taxes, all the things. Present my request of my buyer's compensation. Show them what they'll net.
I love this. So Beth, with investors, you are so focused, and you've created this culture where people, because a lot of folks, they think the investors are flighty.
Mm-hmm. And you're not going to work with me without a written commitment. I'm monogamous, not monogamish. At the end of the day, if you're not getting paid, it's just a hobby. So level up your consultation. COVID taught me to make all my consultations over Zoom. I was wasting time commuting, parking, and gas. I was being interrupted by a barista or people coming in and out of the office. COVID taught me to take everything over Zoom and hit the record button so both people can be present. I added an AI bot, and then COVID also taught me to take my consultation packages digital. I was wasting a lot of money branding, printing generic buyer, seller, investor packages. I created a knowledge-based library filled with Google Docs and videos, and during that Zoom consult, I used the chat box feature to drop all of the links, creating my value. At the end of the consultation, I bring the client to a written commitment. Because of the fact you said you want to buy your first income property, I recommend signing my exclusive buyer broker agreement so that I can counsel and advise you on the properties I specifically curate to help you achieve that goal. And if that sounded like it rolled off my tongue like your Starbucks order, it's because I have time on task practicing the scripts so that I'm so confident and comfortable getting the client to sign.
I love this so much, right? Give it up. Because so many times we're afraid to sound scripted. Anybody afraid to sound scripted? It's okay, this is a friendly group. What I will say with you this is, Beth, how long did it take you to get to that point where it was like a Starbucks order?
So I've been leveling up my Zoom consult since COVID. So it's been 4 years. And the knowledge-based library, I keep adding to it. Because there's a big difference between a first-time buyer versus somebody who's buying their 5th Airbnb with me. So all these little knowledge-based docs that I've made, my latest one is called What in the NAR? And it's a great story that explains commission versus decoupling and negotiating our compensation and why now is the most exciting time to buy with me as your agent.
I love that. Anybody want to just give her the money right now? Like, let's just make this happen. So Mikki, you're in Texas, wildly different market from Tampa, right? Like you're out in West Texas. So folks are doing stuff on a handshake and life changed.
Right.
What does that look like right now? Is you're consulting, maybe you were working with buyers pre-August 15th, and now they're coming back and being like, hey, I'm ready. What does that look like right now?
Right. I actually had that exact thing happen, Holly. I have a buyer who was actually under contract in April, and for whatever reason, they backed out, and they said, we'll call you later this summer. I said, okay, but there's some changes being made, and you might have to pay my buyer agent compensation. Just keep that in your back pocket. Well, sure enough, I believe they called me on August the 15th. I'm like, really? So it gave me the perfect opportunity to have that conversation with them. I said, look, my compensation, my fee is 3.4% of your sales price. I'm going to ask the seller to pay that, but in the case that they don't, that's going to be added to your closing cost. He said, okay, cool. So we go and make an offer. This was like August 17th, August 18th, and I presented my offer with my buyer compensation request of 3.4%. I called my lender. I said, look, hear me out, trust me. I need you to write up their cash to close worksheet, but I need you to add 3.4% to their cash to close. He says, you can't do that, Mikki. I said, trust me, I'm gonna teach you how to be the hero. Put it in their cash to close. So we make the offer. I show it to my buyers and say, this is how much cash you're gonna have to come up with. Are you ready? He says, yes. So we made the offer. The seller did not agree to 3.4%. They agreed to 2.5. So I called my lender, said, change the cash to close, take it off from the 3.5%. I need you to add 1.9%. He's like, what are you doing? I said, just do it. So he gives me the cash to close worksheet. I call my buyer, said, guess what? They accepted your offer, and you get to bring $7,500 less to closing. Boom.
Who's everybody's hero right now?
Right.
Is that something you can do? I want you to think about your favorite lender that you're working with buyers right now, because what Mikki just did was an absolute masterclass on teaching a lender, helping them understand, but then also walking a buyer through. That's just brilliant. Okay, so there you are, you're having these conversations. What did the listing agent do?
Oh, he's pissed. So the settlement statement comes out. We're actually closing on November 1st, and he goes, there's been a mistake. You're making $7,500 more than me. I told you my seller's not gonna pay that. And I said, no, my buyer's gonna pay the difference. He goes, you can't do that. I said, I just did.
It's not bad to be Mikki McDougal today. I'm just saying. So Beth, I'm looking at Florida, and you all have had a series of crazy storms that have impacted your market. How are you staying solid given everything going on around you?
I need a roof and a car, and I will tell you that the reality is that every single moment is an opportunity. The market keeps moving. The market, no matter where we are in the cycle, the market doesn't care about a lawsuit or NAR or a settlement. The market doesn't care about inflation. The market doesn't care about 2 back-to-back catastrophic hurricanes. The market is always moving forward. So if you don't take the time to level up and sharpen the tools in your toolbox, you will fall behind. Historically, after an election, prices go up, interest rates come down. There will be an increase in buyer and seller activity. Are you going to be ready to capture the market share? If you're sitting out there and maybe you're hovering in the back and you're thinking, maybe I'm not as comfortable as I need to be with the scripts, tools, with the dialogue, with the conversations, I invite you to commit. Recommit every single day to getting comfortable and getting great at the things that right now seem a little scary. How do we dive in? Agent toolkits, your state brokers, your leadership team, your mentor. Ask a buddy. This is EXP. Help is the push of a button.
Isn't that the truth?
Right.
Isn't that the truth? I love that. Okay, so you're talking, the election is next week, right? We're days away. You're talking about all of these things. So what action step would you recommend to somebody? What do they need to walk out that door and do immediately? What is one thing?
You've got to get your agent the toolkit. Can we put that link up if you guys don't have it? Every single resource you need to start learning is in that toolkit. We would be remiss if we didn't thank Holly, Leo, Kenzel Bonner, Beth Adams. The insane leadership that we have been given through this transition is remarkable.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. And so for those of you who are like, what toolkit is she talking about? This is the exp.com/buyers or exprealty.com/sellers. Either of those will take you to the toolkit, and that will allow you to download. We've got a customizable buyer broker. We've also got videos that you can use. We've got scripts. We've got trainings. We've got things for your both your listing as well as your buyer packet. And Mikki's net sheet, we've got one for buyers and one for sellers, all there for you.
Yeah.
So Mikki, as you look at your business, what is something that you would say anybody walking out that door today, they're at EXPCon the next 2 days, what is something that they should go learn, understand, or who should they seek out?
Well, I think really if I could sum it up in one thing, it would be, and write this down if you're taking notes, is E plus R equals O. Okay, the E is the event. Something happens. Something's going to continue to happen. R, how you respond or how you react is going to create your opportunity or your outcome. So your mindset is so important, and diving into these classes and learning the scripts, or use the word decouple, it makes it so easy. So E plus R equals O. Use the net sheet, plug in, that's all it takes.
I so love this. Now, in our closing minutes together, we're in the great state of Florida. And I know that Florida's been kind of ground zero for shenanigans. Is that okay? Can I say that out loud?
Troublemakers.
I mean, I'll say it.
It's shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
So one of the things that's been happening is folks, and stop me if you've heard this, agent calls and says, hey, how much is the offer of compensation on your listing? And you say, you know what? Go ahead and put it in the offer. And they're like, oh, I'm not going to show it. Anybody had that happen? I'm sorry it did. This is what I'm going to say to you. You're doing the right thing. Don't stop. Take care of that seller. Don't stop, because this is the opportunity. So Beth, you have that happen. Buyer calls, or buyer's agent calls and says, hey, I'm not going to show unless you give me the compensation up front. What do you say? How are you overcoming it?
In this case, it was the listing agent who
Yeah.
said, I am not going to submit your offer for compensation. And I was like, but that would be like me not submitting an appraisal contingency. What do you mean? It's in writing. And I said, listen, I want to tell you how this is going to end. It's going to end because your seller wants to sell and my buyer wants to buy. So if we know there's a happy ending at the settlement table, let's reverse engineer this together. Let's get this done and help our clients to the best of our ability. I want to say to our agents, communication is key, but communicating with compassion to the agents on the other side who don't necessarily go to EXP and don't have access to the training and tools and dialogue that we have. I was in a class with 2,000 realtors taught by FAR, and they did not teach the seller to buyer broker compensation sheet at all. And if I were an agent like I used to be at a 100% boutique brokerage, I would have thought that that was bond. So have compassion when you're talking to the agents on the other side. This is a chance not just for market share, but for us to show all of the agents at the other brokerages why EXP is where the pros go to grow.
Absolutely.
It feels like a mic drop. I mean, we're not rappers like Glenn, Wendy, and Leo, but we're working on it. So Mikki, I'm looking at Texas, right? And Texas has updated their forms. Florida's updated their forms. What are some of the things that you're seeing as a heavy listing agent, right? What are you saying to folks on the other side? So if I'm a buyer's agent, how am I negotiating with you? Do I need to call? Like, what does that look like?
So I'm getting a lot of those phone calls asking what the buyer agent commission is or compensation, and I'll tell them just put it in the offer. If we go back pre-August 15th and an agent calls you and says, well, your seller paid $10,000, what do we say? Write it up, right? So that's essentially what I'm saying now is when they're asking for that, I'll say, put what you want. I'll present it, I'll use the net sheet, and we'll see what happens. And that's the way I present it to my sellers. My fee is 3.4%. Here's all of your fees again. Are you okay with walking away with $189,000? And if that other agent's asking for 3, 4, 10, whatever, and the numbers make sense to the seller, then they're gonna accept it. But I'm not going to go out there and tell the buyer agents what's going to be paid, because if you're not as strong as an agent as I am, you might submit that offer with asking only 1%. And now I'm the hero again to my seller.
I love the hero in this story every single time.
Yes. Okay,
ladies, in our closing minutes, what things do you want to make sure everybody in this room knows? Everybody watching online, what do you want to leave them with?
You have to know your worth. You have to be able to speak about the value that you're bringing to the table. So if you haven't checked in with yourself recently and said, well, why am I worth this amount? And how do I level up my skill set to double that? This is an opportunity to earn more per transaction than you ever have before. And when that happens, call me and I'll help you buy an income property.
Right.
All right, Mikki, you're up. Tell us something great.
Just same thing, plug in. Guys, we're with such an amazing brokerage. It's life-changing if you'll let it be life-changing. You've got to plug into our leadership. Let it change your life. It'll happen.
Truly. Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for investing in yourself, in your business, because nobody can do what you can do as well as you can do it. That's KCGI. We're out.